The Flam Railway is known as one of the most beautiful railway lines in the world. It's located in Vestland, Norway, and runs between the railroad junction of Myrdal and the inland port of Flåm. It's a very famous railway, and it drew over 1.1 million passengers in 2024. I had heard that it was a can't-miss trip for train enjoyers such as myself, so we made sure to include a ride as part of our itinerary in Norway. Is this really one of the most beautiful railroad lines in the world? Stick around to find out. Here we are arriving at the Myrdal station on a train running along the Bergen line. The station layout here is interesting. 2 platforms serve the 3 tracks, with the Flam Railway trains boarding on the northernmost track. This meant that passengers coming from the west, such as ourselves, needed to cross the westbound track of the Bergen line to get to our Flam Railway train. Alright, this is a major level boarding fail. But it is a historic railway. I wasn't sure what to expect at the Myrdal station, and given that we had just 14 minutes to make our transfer, I thought we might have to move quickly to make our train. That concern turned out to be unwarranted though, as the railroad staff made sure everyone made it onto the train before the departure, and 14 minutes is plenty of time anyway. The coaches are much older than the standard intercity trains, and there are 3 large steps one must navigate to get on board the Flam Railway. Cool old train, but it is a major level boarding fail. You can walk through the carriages though, that's good. Though they use modern locomotives, the coaches are much older and have a lot of charm with their wood-paneled interiors and tall arched ceilings. Given the steps necessary to enter the coaches, boarding would be difficult for anyone with reduced mobility. Each departure can hold up to 2 passengers in wheelchairs, which is a pretty small number. I think it's worth investing more in space for passengers in wheelchairs, and accessibility in general is definitely something that the Flam Railway can improve upon. Looks like there's a reserved section, or maybe this is just like baggage or something, and then unreserved seats in the other parts of the train. Multilingual signs, which is good. These are clearly much older carriages. They are really, really beautiful on the inside, a nice tall ceiling. A friend, and we are leaving on time. Well, it just rolled over to 12:07, but we were leaving when it was still 12:06, so we're still on time. First, the route descends down the eastern side of a very steep canyon. The views are pretty astonishing. The steepest part of the route has a 5.5% grade. Normally, it's best for trains to stay below a 2.5% grade, though some trains, even high-speed trains, reach up to 4% grades in regular service. Operationally, and from a passenger experience standpoint, the Flam Railway is interesting. With up to 10 round trips per day, departures are relatively frequent, and departures are timed well with the Bergen line service. Though the Flam Railway is distinctly touristy, passengers still book through the national intercity operator VY. Also, please comment if you know if it's pronounced VY or Vi. I am not sure. We were riding on a single ticket from Voss, so booking this train was very easy. This railway was built over 20 years and was finished in 1944. Part of the route soon after the Myrdal station includes a tunnel which crosses under the preceding track on the surface above. It really is an engineering marvel, especially considering that it was designed more than 100 years ago. The columns in our field of view here are part of a snow shed that the train passes through. These help keep snow off the tracks, making it easier to keep the rail line active during winter weather. Arguably, they somewhat obstruct the view, but for whatever reason they show up more obtrusively on camera than they do when you look out the window in person. This is something I notice as I film more train windows. It's difficult to capture with the camera how it looks and feels to look out a train window. Perhaps this can be further motivation for you, the viewer, to get out there and have your own adventures. At this point, the train emerges from a tunnel at the Kjelsfossen station, which is wedged between 2 tunnels and includes platforms within the tunnels, something I don't think I've seen before, unless you count the West Portal station on the Muni light rail system. This station exists exclusively to grant passengers access to the view of the Kjelsfossen waterfall. Legend has it that a forest creature called the Huldra would dance near the dangerous waterfalls and seduce men. As you'll see, it turns out to be more than just a legend. What'd you say?
They must have a massive speaker somewhere. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Oh my god, they have someone up there. That's crazy.
Wow. Frankly, this waterfall is impressive enough without any showbiz. I found the whole thing pretty tacky, and I'm not sure who this is for. Train enjoyers, for the most part, do not care about such things, and nature enjoyers probably would prefer to just take in the sights and sounds of the waterfall. As a member of both communities, I can confirm this. The waterfall is stunning enough as it is. That said, it would probably be a neat job to get to hang out by a waterfall all day and do a dance number when a train comes by. Also, the show went on for a really long time, and we had no idea that this would be part of the journey. It was not advertised anywhere on the ticket we booked in the VY app, so it came as a total surprise, though I'm sure if we'd done more research about the Flam Railway experience ahead of time, we'd have learned about it.
It's going on for so long. What do you think?
Dude, that's crazy.
This is insane. I had no idea this was part of this. Wild thing here, the train station is like in the tunnel. I haven't seen this before where a station's halfway in and halfway out of the tunnel. Wow, what a wild little thing. That is one of the most unique train stations I've ever been to. Maybe it's power. It's probably power. You see the pipe coming into it? This looks like hydropower.
Also where the girlies hang out
In between takes.
Up there is the section of track that we passed through at the start of our ride, and you can see just how far we've already dropped. As we descend, there are tons of waterfalls throughout the canyon, and they're all very beautiful. The water flows down into the Flåm River, and it has a spectacular blue color.
Look how blue it is. Oh, nothing quite like glacial blue.
One of the many reasons my sister makes great company on trips is that she's a geologist, and she can identify and explain any land formation.
U-shaped valley.
Oh, big time.
One of the most pronounced U's of the U-shaped valley.
Well, yeah, depending on how fast the ice is moving and how long it was there, the amount of incision can vary. And also, this is continuing to be incised by the river.
People on bikes. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Now that we are in one of the flatter parts of the route, there are more buildings and people. I found that the buildings nicely accompanied the landscape, with some like this red barn standing out, while others in the darker or more muted colors seemed to recede into the landscape. Aesthetically, this part was just fabulous. Up ahead, our train pulled into a siding to let the train traveling in the opposite direction pass us. This gave us a chance to see another train on the route out the window, which was a really great, if brief, sight. Here we catch a view up one of the adjacent valleys. The landscape out of the window evolves in exciting ways, and it is really amazing.
On the left-hand side, you can see the waterfall Ryonderfossen, which has a free fall of 140 meters.
I liked that there were announcements of key landmarks, like the waterfall we just learned about. Moments like this with views down the canyon were really wonderful. They gave a sense of just how dramatic this route is, and they're very beautiful. This right here is probably the most beautiful part of the route. There's not much point in trying to add commentary here. Just look at it. This part is near the Hordiaina station, and if I were to come back, I'd love to explore this area on a bike, and I'd probably also record a disproportionate amount of videos of trains going by.
Hey, it's me!
The stunning view up the valley we had just descended continued to evolve, and we passed right on through the Lunden station, which meant we were close to the end of our ride. In total, our ride on the Flam Railway took about 58 minutes. This is definitely not a fast ride, but that's not the point. Clearly, the point is to take in the astonishing views and enjoy the journey.
Oh my goodness, it's so blue. A campground.
Soon enough, we offboarded, and that was the end of our ride.
Oh my goodness, look at that cruise ship.
Upon further reflection, the Flam Railway's main superlative should be that it has the most impressive route, not necessarily the most beautiful. That's the part that's really mind-blowing about this rail line, especially the construction history and the age of the railroad. This line is an extremely cool thing for any fans of civil engineering feats to check out. All that said, I think that the view out the train itself is not necessarily the best. While not much of the route is in tunnels, large portions are through sheds which have pillars that disrupt the views. On top of that, I found the dancing show at the waterfall particularly tacky and unnecessary, though I did appreciate that the train stops at the waterfall. Ultimately, this is a pretty touristy experience. I think it's worth it if you're an enjoyer of trains, though the best place to see the Flam Railway is probably from outside the train, looking at it snake its way along the canyon walls and between tunnels. Those were my favorite view moments in the journey, but that may be my train enjoyer bias showing. So, is the Flam Railway the most beautiful railroad in the world? I actually don't think it's even the most beautiful railway in Norway. Now, I have yet to ride every railway in Norway, but I did ride most of the Bergen line, and I found that line to be even more astonishing than the Flam Railway. Maybe that's a controversial opinion, but I stand by it. The Bergen line traverses areas like what we see here, above the tree line and in rocky and grassy tundra-like landscapes. It's difficult to put into words the way taking a train through here made me feel. Even looking back at this footage, I cannot believe that there's a train lined through a place like this. Let alone an electrified passenger train with frequent intercity service. It's actually so crazy to me and just so amazing and so cool. I just love this line. I just think it's so great. I can confidently say that this is the most beautiful railway I've ever been on. Could there be more beautiful railways in the world? Probably. Are there more beautiful railways in Norway? Possibly. But this route is extremely special and astonishing, especially on the unusually sunny day we rode through. If you're planning to visit Norway, I highly recommend taking the Bergen line. When you go, either side of the train will have incredible views, but for the best views, book on the left side when traveling toward Bergen and on the right side when traveling toward Oslo. This way, conditions permitting, you'll see the glaciers at Finns outside your window. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you very much. I really appreciate that you choose to watch these.
Digo.